Hello, welcome everyone to Knowledge is Power. Magandang hapon to all of our viewers who have joined us on our Facebook page and on Kumu. My name is Yorina Lucica Signer and I am the founder of Empowered Virtual Services Philippines and Kaya Services Australia. Now, what do we mean when we say knowledge is power? So knowledge is facts, information, and skills acquired through experience or education, and power is using our knowledge to make a better place. The power to make changes and to empower people in our own way. Because knowledge is not kept but should be shared with the world, and that's why here in our show, we want to be a platform where people can share their knowledge, wisdom, and experiences so people who are watching can take away learnings to incorporate into their lives. Now, our guest for this segment was a member of the University of the Philippines Madrigal Singers between 1969 and 1976, and is a passionate retired professor of music who started her journey when she took her master's degree in music, appointed as a graduate assistant in 1972, and later became a lecturer in the University of the Philippines, Diliman, up until 1976. She then moved to Portugal in 1977, having married a Portuguese citizen, and her passion for music, for teaching music, continued as she became a faculty in the Lisbon National Conservatory of Music in 1978. In that same year, she founded the Coro de Camara de Lisboa, which was then known as Coro de Camara de Conservatorio Nacional, composed of 22 young musicians performing musical works in Portuguese and foreign composers. From there, she was granted scholarships and opportunities to teach and perform music in various universities and festivals, also recording a CD entitled Celebration of Philippine-Portuguese Friendship, resulting from a joint project of the Philippine Embassy in Lisbon and the Coro de Camara de Lisboa, Lisbon Chamber Choir, to celebrate the 70 years of diplomatic relations between Philippines and Portugal. And this particular CD includes folk songs from the Philippines and Portugal. Now, she's also a recipient of an award from the President of the Philippines, being recognized for the work that she has completed and has demonstrated in overseas. And this was recently happened, and our guest today is extra special as she is my auntie. I am so honored that she said yes to be on our show to share her story and share how she has wonderfully demonstrated through her distinguished career that knowledge is powerful and can absolutely change lives in an amazing way. To get to know her more and how her life has changed throughout her passion for music and teaching music, I'd like you all to give a warm welcome to our guest, Teresita Marques. Hello. Hello, Auntie Tessie.
Greetings from Lisbon, Portugal.
How are you?
Fine. It's my pleasure to be with you today on this empowering show, and I hope I can share some of my experiences all this time until my retirement in 2017-18.
Amazing. Like, as everybody heard and saw, my Auntie Tessie's career has really spanned out through, many years, and you really have had many, many achievements. And on a personal note, especially, being my dad's daughter, we are absolutely proud,
Thank you.
that we are able to call you family. So thank you again for taking the time. Now, I have a few questions up my sleeve, but before we get started, we're going to play a game. We're going to play a game called Guess This Type of Filipino Music Genre. So this is, I think you will be able to pass this with flying colors. Hopefully I don't. But are you ready to play the game, Auntie Tessie? So what I'll be doing is I'll name a few attributes of the music, and you'll have to guess which music genre I'm describing. Are you ready?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's get started. Guess this type of Filipino music genre. So the attributes are, it's a traditional string orchestra that comprises two-string mandolin-type instruments, such as a loud, bandurria, a guitar, or a double bass, often accompanied by a drum for percussion. Can you guess what type of music genre I'm talking about?
Are you referring to the Rondalia Orchestra?
Yes, we knew you would get that straight away. Yes, amazing. So for everybody who is watching, Auntie Tessie was obviously able to guess that in one go. But some fun facts about the rondalia music genre. The word rondalla is actually from Spanish ronda, meaning serenade. Now, the rondalia is an ensemble of stringed instruments played with this plectrum of pick and generally known as a plectrum instruments. It's originated in the medieval Spain, especially in the ancient crown of Aragon, Catalonia, Murcia, and Valencia. Now, the tradition was later taken to Spanish America and then the Philippines. And the rondalia has its origins in Iberian rondalla tradition and is used to accompany several Hispanic-influenced song forms and dances. So there you go, everybody, for anybody who didn't know about the rondalia. It's a Filipino orchestra. Thank you for playing. Okay, now I know that you're an amazing person, a mum and a professor, but I'd like our viewers to get to know you more. So, what made you decide to pursue your teaching music career?
Well, when I came to Portugal, I stayed for 1 year without working because I needed to learn the language in a minimum way, I should say, because the Portuguese language is terribly difficult. Okay, so yes, it's really nothing to do with Spanish. Before I got married, there was no one to teach me Portuguese in Philippines. So I had to get a Spanish tutor. When I arrived here, my husband said, "You have to undo it." I said, "No way." So, okay, I tried my best. I never wanted to answer the telephone because the Portuguese speak very fast and I couldn't catch anything. Anyway, okay, time flew and I would read a lot of newspapers. Then a year after the opening for the National Conservatory, there was an opening for a choral teacher. So I applied. There were 5 of us applying, all men. I was the only woman. I was the only foreigner. And luckily, I was the one chosen.
Wow.
So, yes. So I told myself, since I was the one chosen, I had to really deserve the place. I had to show them that I can work, and I see when I came to the conservatory, it was how should I say? It was like there was hardly any activity because Portugal at that time politically was undergoing a lot of changes after the dictatorship. So I thought, well, there's no performing group. So I in the end of that school year, I selected the best singers I had in my choral class, and around, say, I entered in January of 1978, and in May I already had to do a concert because it's almost obligatory. Yes. Since the application was delayed, I was only able to enter in January, and school year would end in June. And normally the recitals and concerts are done in May, so I had to hurry up, and I had to, yes, I had to prepare, I say, 5 songs for a chamber choir, and then I had to do the whole choir, which about, I had 150, present them in the same concert. So yes, I it's normal here, in the end of the year, the music schools have to present what they had worked for the whole year. So I think that was the start of the Coro de Camara, or we say Lisbon Chamber Choir. And after 3 years, um, they had to leave. They had to leave the conservatory because the school authorities said that those who finish their course cannot continue, and the success of a chamber group or chamber choir depends on the continuity of the singers. If you change every year, you don't do anything. You have to always do the same repertoire. Yes, and then the choir began to receive invitations, because there were choirs. There were choirs here in Lisbon at that time, but something like choir members who have music knowledge was very rare. If you have lots of amateur choirs, but we have the Gulbenkian choir, the one of the professional choirs here. It belongs to the Gulbenkian Foundation, and we have also the choir of the Opera Theater of São Carlos. It's a state theater, and it's the only professional opera choir in Portugal.
Oh, okay.
So yes, we have also in the north, but the main opera theater is in Lisbon. And so I had to work my way. And all the years, I taught for 39 years of service. And in the meantime, the choir left, and we began receiving invitations, and the sponsors would want to pay. And if you are in the government, a group like this cannot receive honorariums. Yes. So we decided to be an independent group, and that was the best thing that we did. In the meantime, I continued my work in the conservatory. We always have 250 people in the end of the year for the big concert. And then so we began doing big works, masses of Mozart, Beethoven, blah, 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 with the orchestra of the school.
Wow.
And the school also would get a lot of invitations. So things were beginning to move. This is my... This was taken during one of the recording sessions. I think you can see this picture in one of the churches, an 18th century church here in Lisbon with very good acoustics. And we have done here, I should say, about 4 or 5 CDs. We recorded here because the noise was minimum, and it's very important when you're doing a recording, as you know. Okay, so what do you want me to say more?
No, that's amazing. No, I was just trying to understand, what was the reason why you decided to pursue the teaching career. But I think it seems like it was, divinely guided. Like it was one of those situations where even you waited and you learnt the language, and even then this opportunity. But I suppose it's also because of your achievements and the vast experience that you were bringing from the Philippines into Portugal, that the Portuguese people saw how valuable all of your knowledge was to their culture. And it's really inspiring to see that and to hear how much you have truly made a mark, and you've shown the beauty, and really also have shared the experiences that you had with the Madrigal singers. Is that right?
Yes. I will always be totally grateful to Andrea Veneracion. She was the founder of the UP Madrigal Singers. I learned a lot from her because when they opened when they had the opening of in the conservatory, it was for a choral professor. I had finished piano in UP, but at the same time, I I entered, I suppose I was in my third year at the university in the UP Madrigal Singers, and they began to travel to America, to Europe, and it
Yeah.
was really definitely the best university that I could have entered. And so when they told me that there was an opening for a choral professor, I said, I will try, I will see, I will try, because I had a lot of experience singing, you know. Of course, I had the language barrier. But and then I thought, well, I should say, but see, music is easier because the situation of singing, you have to read the music sheet, and the notes are universal. And so I in the beginning I would tell my students in English, how do you say this in Portuguese? So they will all translate. And then they will say, there goes the teacher, she's in her ABCs in Portuguese. So anyway, I didn't even go to Portuguese language school because I began working, and I would read a lot of newspapers and the translation on TV. You could hear what they say in Portuguese, and then the films in English have the translation in Portuguese. So that's how I learned to speak. You know, I had no time and probably no patience to go to a grammar school, because for me I could only go in the summer when the courses in Portuguese for the foreigners are offered. I cannot go during the school year because I was working. So
True.
you know, you really just have to absorb quick, fast.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's, I guess, in all phases of our life, when there's a transition or, you know,
Yes,
there's changes that occur, we have to adapt. And, you know, that's such an important lesson for everybody who's watching, which, you know, just a special shout out to everybody who's watching. We have a few family members watching Auntie Tessie, so it's great. We've
so
got
I
a whole
heard.
yes, yes. But for you, Auntie Tessie, you know, you decided to teach music, and then you've been a professor, you know, since 1972. What inspired you to keep going, you know, to continue teaching? I know that there are people who have breaks along their teaching career, but for you, it really is about you've just been a lifelong professor, a lifelong educator, I suppose. What made you keep going?
You know, I am so happy. I was very happy when my students, I would discover uh, students, let's say, who were studying instruments, and they were vocally apt to go to bel canto. So I told them, you know, you have a potential. Your voice can be developed. And definitely, I have, say, 5 singers or more. One, two, three opera singers. One in London. She came back to Lisbon during the
Wow.
pandemic. One is in Holland. The one, and one is also a professor in the university here, and so on and so on. And I really trained. I was not the teacher after. I just told them, you have a potential, because I would discover, I would observe them, and that it really gave me a lot of satisfaction that probably they would not have discovered that they had this talent if I didn't tell them. And
Yeah.
that's really a big, so I'm always on the look, you know, because some of them started with me 10, 11 years old,
Oh,
Some
wow.
now are professors in music, and they started with me, and you know, and that's, I think that that was really something that I shared, and I transferred to them. I made them realize, look, you will do better if you do this, you know. And they're
Yeah.
successful in their careers now. And that's, I think it's
Wow.
something.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine how fulfilling that is.
Yeah,
Just your advice. But I suppose really at the end of the day, the way you look at it really is their success is your success as well. And you've been so, I mean, your passion for music and obviously inspiring others, you could really see you've inspired so many students across the globe. And now you have formed a part in spreading the goodness or the positivity that music can bring to people's lives. That is so inspiring, Auntie Tessie. That is absolutely amazing. I'm just so excited that you're here with me, and I'm learning so much from you. And now, you were awarded the Presidential Awards for Filipino
yes.
individuals and organizations overseas. Can you share with us a little bit more about this?
Okay. In the first place, I never expected that. One day, the embassy called me. They told me I had to prepare my portfolio because they will send it to the Presidential Award Committee. I
Wow.
said, "Oh no." Uh, yes, this was the awards night, and it took me quite some time, although I had not a lot of time to prepare, and I had to dig. Definitely, the word is dig into my things to look for, because you had to put, since your high school, practical elementary high school data, and if you had honors, blah blah blah, until the present. And good thing for me, I brought some of the documents, pictures. It's not very easy. The one of the ambassadors, we had two at the time. She was the deputy. She helped me a lot, and to finalize the portfolio, and association of the Philippine community, the president. She was the one who should, I think, what should I say, propose, and the embassy and the ambassador. And so it took time. I didn't even hope that there would be, I would I would be chosen, because I never expected. So one beautiful day, I got a letter, and they told me, "Yes, you will. You are chosen for the Pamana. It's a cultural
Oh,
awardee.
how fitting.
And you have to let us know if you are coming." Oops. So yeah, because it was already October. They took quite delayed, because, and then I was quite apprehensive, because the airline tickets airline
Mhm.
tickets were getting expensive, you know.
Yeah.
By October, it's already in the maximum amount. So that day I had to run to Emirates. Oh, they had quite expensive. So I went online. So I bought with Turkish, and bingo. Me and my husband, we went to Philippines for the ceremony. And
Oh.
then they had a testimonial dinner. That was the big
Mm.
surprise. And they announced that um, all the awardees, the committee, will shoulder the airline tickets, plus the persons accompanying the person.
Wow.
Yes. So what was one of the I think most pleasant thing that they could have done to the awardees, because I'm sure some people would have said, "I'm not coming because I cannot pay."
Yeah.
That was really what obliged them to try to pay the airline travel for the awardees.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I know for me, I saw pictures, and when I heard about it, I had to ask my parents again, like, what award is this? That sounds like it's so incredible. And, you know, you have really made us all so proud. Like, I know my dad always, he absolutely is so proud of you, and my mum, of course, and, you know, all of us, because it really shows that when you're passionate about what you do and you're passionate and, you know, unconditionally try to help people and inspire people to be better in the field, and in your field, it's music, it really shows that there is power in making changes in the world. And I've loved your journey, and I love that it's always been through music, because really music is universal. And it's so, it's really an amazing thing. And congratulations for such
Thank you.
an amazing award. And I know this isn't the only one. You've had so many achievements, but I wanted to say congratulations verbally, because this is the first time we've actually spoken about the presidential awards. Now, for you, Auntie Tessie, like, how do you, as a teacher, how do you feel about the importance of improving your skills and knowledge, not in just what you teach, but also in other fields?
Excuse me. Can you
So,
repeat?
so for you as a teacher,
Yes.
do you feel that it's important to continually improve your skills and knowledge in what you teach, not just in what you teach, but also in other fields around, you know, in life?
Yes, of course. I should say that it has been useful now. I should say now, after my when I retired, I have been contacted by the Philippine Embassy in some occasions, and in other occasions by private companies to do translations in court. Could you believe that? So I said, I have a new job. No, but
Different.
yes, I've already had five situations actually, for the Filipino community. Filipinos who have cases in court and they need translators. Um,
Amazing.
yes. See, the situation is this. Uh, there, at the moment, I don't want to say I'm bragging that I'm the only one, but at the moment, it is not very easy to find someone, a Filipino, who can speak Portuguese, and even worse, in a trial or in court, wherein you have to do the rapport very quickly.
Yes.
You translate to Filipino, and then what she says, you translate to the judges
Wow.
right away in Portuguese. And so I had already five trials, and to I have to translate the documents, the allegations, defense. Yes, like this. It's so big. Every time I see them send that to me, I said, okay, I am again in. I have to suffer because it's good I have my husband who's a lawyer because
Yeah, that's
there's
true. I
lots
was
of
about to
legal
say,
terms.
Uncle is a lawyer, so that I'm sure that would have helped.
Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to do because how can I translate legal terms? It's really
Yeah,
difficult.
that's what I
Difficult.
want. That's what I was thinking. I wanted to ask you about that, because they would have to be, the legal terms would have to be in like Filipino as well as Portuguese. And then,
Yes.
wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So it's just, until now, you were still able to help people, you know, even through retirement, which is, you know, that must, it's really good for us, you know, because it shows how important continuous learning is.
Yes,
And
exactly.
yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that's really different, from music to law. So that's really a vast difference of a career that you've had. So,
The
I
other
mean,
day, the
go ahead.
judge asked me, "Are you official translator?" I said, "No, I'm a musician." And she looked at me. She just didn't say, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah. I could just imagine her face would have been so confused, like, I mean, listen, but she's here now in court. And she, oh,
Exactly.
that is so
Exactly.
funny. Oh my goodness. Now, for those, working mothers out there, there are many. Are you able to share how you were able to, balance the responsibilities as a professor, responsibilities of being a mother, a wife, and also a sister?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I should say that I have a very wonderful husband because when the choir began to travel, he would stay with our son. He was 1 year old when the choir went for the first time to Germany. So and on and on and on, and he would always stay with our son. And my husband had always understood what it is for a musician to hold concerts, and I have to be there, and I have to spend a lot of time in rehearsals. And okay, so in the summer, we are 24 hours together, the three of us. So that was the only compensation. Yes, it's very difficult in the beginning, I should say,
Yeah.
because all my free time I would spend with my son and my husband. But really, music occupies a lot of time, the classes and the rehearsals, especially the rehearsals, because concert, okay, it's 2 hours the maximum in the evening, but rehearsals, really, we have to pass a lot of time. The musicians are always in rehearsals. It's terrible, So in that way, I was lucky. My husband helped me a lot, really.
That's really good. I think it's really important that we are surrounded by a supportive family. I think that is really crucial in our journey to success. Having our supportive siblings, as we can see here. There's Auntie Sally and Uncle Phil. And, having a support unit where we're able to count on them and, to be able to provide us that, sometimes they don't even have to say anything or do anything, but just being there, it it gives you that strength to keep going. Isn't that right, Auntie Tessie?
Yes, yes. Oh, excuse me, I forgot one person who had helped me a lot raise my son. So my mother-in-law
Oh,
and my
wow.
father. Yes, both my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. And at that time, my mother-in-law still had her mother alive.
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, and so Tiago have always stayed with the best memories of his grandparents on the father's side. My son only met, I don't, yeah, once in Los Angeles. My son met my parents. I don't know if,
Oh,
yes, um, that was in 1986 when I was sent by the government to do a course in the UC Santa Barbara. And so I brought my son with me, and he stayed with my parents while I went to UC Santa Barbara to do the summer course. Um, and that was, I think, the only time he met them alive.
oh, okay.
And my
I
sister, she came with her daughter to help my parents take care of my son. And so Yes, and they played, and her daughter came, and so I think it was fun for the two to have met.
Yes. Oh,
Yes,
wow. I didn't realize, that your parents were in the US at
at
that
that
time.
time, yes, yes,
Oh,
because
okay.
my brother wanted them to stay with him, so they traveled to the US, stayed there for I don't know 10 years or so until they
Okay.
went until after my brother died. I think 96, 97, or and then my parents went back to the Philippines.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that's nice. Well, you know, like what we can see here, the family is always supportive of one another. And it's just great to see that even through your journey of success in your career and even as in motherhood, it's always important to be surrounded by a family unit who can support us and who can, be with us through our own personal journeys. And thank you so much for sharing that. And you know, for me, I've learned a lot about how knowledge and how when you're passionate about something that transcends time. And I think it's really important for our viewers and for especially those students or the people who are continuously trying to learn about their craft. It's important that we keep going. It's important that we continue to, invest in ourselves so that we can be the best of our, be our best selves. So now for you though, Auntie Tessie, like what are the three things that you can advise those people who want to expand their knowledge or even hone in on their skills? What would you advise them?
It's very important to study a lot, to be prepared. Uh, First, it's very important to know your goals, what
Mm,
definitely you would want to do.
that's true.
And it's very important if you know your goals, then you have to be very persuasive
Yeah.
and strong, yes, and really work a lot. I think it's the this it's not a secret. Nothing happens without work. I think so.
Yes.
Work, nothing happens if you don't strive, if you don't try, if you don't try your best, if you don't sacrifice. It's really that's really true. I mean, there should be regularity, I should say. In my case, um, I could I could cite an example, very simple example. Like my students are very used that I begin the class on time. They're very used to that, and very few times that I would arrive late. They look at me trying to tell me she's late today. So So I said, "Hey guys, I'm late because I was called to the office of the director because I need because I had work as coordinator and there are
Mm,
a lot of things to do.
yeah.
And sometimes when they tell the the security, please tell Mrs. Marcus to pass by the office, and then it extends, and I would tell the hey, I have to go because I have to give a class." And so I said, "Come on, let's begin page something. Let's begin." And one of the students would say, "Teacher, we didn't vocalize." Oops, you know. Oh yes, you are right. I couldn't tell them. Never mind. Let's not do it.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah, I cannot do it because then the next time I cannot impose that we do the vocalization. See,
True.
because they know very well that before you sing, you have to prepare, you have to vocalize. And so that is I think they know very well the pattern of the class. So Okay, let's go. It will be shorter, but yes, of course, let's go vocalize. So that's it. I mean, that's one of the factors. I think regularity is very important, of course.
Yes. No, that's true. They always say um, that your habits create your success. So if your habits are, something that's not conducive to, positive progress or moving forward, you end up actually either staying or being stagnant or even
Yes,
going behind. So it's really important for us to, create positive habits for ourselves in order for us to keep moving.
definitely, definitely, definitely. So,
That's
I
really,
really would like to emphasize regularity is very important.
yeah.
Terribly
No,
important.
I love that. No, that's a really great reminder because I think in this day and age, a lot of people can also be distracted of different aspects or different things that come along their way, especially with social media, even just the media, the regular media on TV. People can get distracted. So when we create regularities or creating habits for ourselves, it really is preparing ourselves to be able to create our own future and of moving forward in a positive
Yes,
way towards our goals. So I
exactly.
suppose you can say that the regularities, it's really about setting our intention, right, Auntie Tessie?
Setting our
Intention.
yes, of course. As always, I say, uh, first you have to know what you want to do.
Mm,
Then we have to systemize and say how shall I how shall I how will I be able to obtain the goals that I want to do?
yeah, that's true.
And you have to be organized. I always tell my students, I said, hey guys, you have to be organized. Okay, if you are not organized in your books, in your music, then your mind is disorganized, and then I forget, and then you get out of track. uh,
Yeah,
Musician, I said, a musician has to be very rigorous and has to be really organized. You see, in the conservatory, uh, we were in a system, not now anymore, but when I entered, we were in a system where we have college students, medical students, who were at the same time taking music courses. It was allowed before. At the moment they changed exactly the system of studying music, except if you want to be in a private school. And so if we have engineering students, medical students, every minute to them is most valuable. So they have to be organized. And I should say that at that time, our best students were those who hardly had any minute. They keep running from the college to the university and on, and they were the best students. See, I keep telling my students, the younger ones, uh,
yeah.
time is gold. You cannot you cannot waste your time. If you
I
want
love
to be a musician, yes. And even with my choir, sometimes they are loaned, quote unquote, to other choirs when they need basses, singers, sopranos, blah blah blah. And then they will, when they go back to the choir, they say, oh, they're always late. Oh, we waste time waiting for the rehearsal to begin.
Yeah,
Because they are used to me on time. I begin, I finish on time, and so we don't waste time. I For me, really, because I cannot accomplish what I want to accomplish in a rehearsal if I don't begin on time.
true, true.
That's definitely for me. That
Yeah,
is rule. One person joked with me and she said, "You must have been a German in the other life," because or British.
Oh my gosh. No, you
Yes,
know,
I said, "Why?" Because you are always stressed to begin on time. I said, is it sinful to begin on time? I
no,
said,
not at all.
see, so we finish on time and nobody wastes any minute, you know. I
Exactly.
think that's very, very important.
No, that is so true. I mean, I 100% agree with that, Auntie Tessie. And I think it really, when what you've demonstrated is really how much you respect your own time as well as other people's time.
Exactly.
And that is something that is such an important message for us to share with our viewers because, I think for us, there's tendencies that we may be late or there might be just something that stops us from being on time, but really that shows for the other person who's waiting or the other person who could be doing something else. It just shows that respect for each other, and I think it's so important, and it's such a great message that we should respect other people's time, because that will also ensure that people respect our own time. Because, like you said, you can't waste, you can't waste your time. We've only got one life to live, and so we should maximize our time doing the things that
Exactly.
we love and helping the people that we can help, and keep spreading the messages that we want to spread. So that's I love that. I absolutely love that, and I hope that that's a message that really rings strong to our viewers and to people who are watching this. Well, before you go, did you have any messages to impart with regards to knowledge and the power of knowledge with our viewers?
Well, the power of knowledge is very important because if it, you have to have content if you want to transmit anything, correct? Uh,
Yes.
and the thing is to have knowledge for us. In my case, as musician, I have to prepare a lot in order to transmit. Every rehearsal, I have to plan my rehearsals so I know what I must do. My goal on that morning, of course, now during the pandemic, since March until now, we
Yeah.
have stopped. Okay, but no, in normal circumstances, I prepare a plan so I know, especially when we have time limit. Time limits is that we have a big concert, we have a concert with instruments, and I really have to plan it so that when the instrumentalists begin to rehearse, we will not waste time. There again, see, we will not waste time because the choir cannot enter in that passage. No, no, it's not a problem. And I would also, everybody laughs when, because if it's a big work, I begin from the last chapter. And they say, why you begin from the last chapter? Oh, I said that's psychological because if you begin from the beginning and you see that you are halfway and the time already has gone. Now, if you begin from the last, you see, wow, we're getting fast and it doesn't take so much time to get to the beginning. And then they laugh and then they said, you are right. Yes, because if I see I'm only midway and the time has finished and we already have to have the concert. So there are some we have to should say we have to look for ways for the people not to find it difficult.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, if you transmit, it has to be done in a way that it has to be accessible,
Yes.
and
That's.
that at least you can transmit knowledge.
Mhm.
But everything has to be studied. Everything has to be studied. And
Oh,
also this comes with experience, of course.
yeah, of course. Of course. Oh, no, 100%. I mean, everything that you've said has been so, like, I've truly been holding on to every single word because I'm learning so much from what you've said because it's so true. You know, the way we are blessed with the knowledge that we are blessed with, and if we're able to share that in a way where it's palatable, like people are able to consume it and people are able to receive it, then we're
Yes.
able to then share that knowledge and keep, it just keeps on multiplying. And especially if we're sharing positive messages, message of hope, message of opportunity. And really, at the time right now, it's so important that we're able to do that. And so, I'm so happy that you've joined me here today. I'm so absolutely honored, Auntie Tessie. Tonight I was really making sure that I was prepared because I wanted to, also do you proud, because you have been in the field of, academia for your whole life, really. And what I'm hoping to achieve through EVS is to be able to empower Filipino remote workers to really gain the knowledge, gain the experience, have the self-motivation to really be better and do better, and not just for clients, but more importantly for the country, locally, for the people, for their families, for their communities. So I'm so happy that you were able to share what you've shared, and I've also got one other person who would like to say something to you. So is that somebody here?
Oh,
We love you very much, Ining.
Jesus.
Congratulations for the big, big accomplishment that you have had.
Thank you.
Bye.
Maraming salamat.
That's my dad, everybody. So thank you. As you can see, he's so proud. He wants to keep talking to you, but he knows that I'm just like telling him, we respect your time as well, and I know it's early there. So thank you. Maraming salamat. Is it muito obrigado?
Muito obrigado, sim. Un grande prazer. It's my pleasure.
I love it.
We hope to meet sometime when this pandemic ends.
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much, Auntie Tessie, for really making the time and sharing with us your experiences and words of wisdom. I am truly and so thankful and grateful that you were, my guest of Knowledge is Power. And I really hope that people have learned so much from you, from your distinguished career and just your experience as a mother, as a wife, as a professor, and as a Filipina Portuguese. And, thank you again. And I hope to see you soon. And thank you and bye.
My pleasure. Thank you. It was an honor. And just let me know if you need anything.
Thank you.
Let me know. Okay. Hello to everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. That is just absolutely amazing. Like I'm truly like, there are times where I'm pretty talkative and I just talk, but this time I was really in awe. It's so great to be, to be across from a person who has touched so many lives through their work. And it's so inspiring, to be able to have an auntie like that, who was in the field of education, and she was able, to transcend knowledge and continue to inspire people through time. And it just goes to show that knowledge paired with experience that we have in our own personal life, as well as our passions and dedication, gives us really the power to change the world one step at a time. And even if we do little steps, as long as we are on the right track, then we're always going to be able to spark the fire to use our knowledge, our passion, and our experience to empower ourselves and, of course, others. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on our episode of Knowledge is Power. Maraming salamat to our Facebook viewers as well as on Kumu, and muito obrigado to those tuning in from Portugal. Join us again next time for a fun and knowledgeable episode on Knowledge is Power. Thank you. Goodbye.